One thing that you'll recognize in your journey to healing and wholeness is that your pain is very different and quite separate from each other. And it's almost as though you want to fix or heal the other person. But I really want you to begin to take personal inventory of what's going on in your own heart and in your own life. And that recognize that there's healing that will take place in you. And as you get healed and as your spouse is healed, then there is a healing for your relationship and your marriage.
So true. And I remember it was probably a couple years after Robert was born. I really didn't feel I deserved to forgive myself. Because if I could just take the Audrey that did that, just take her out of me and put her here, I would actually say that I hate that Audrey. She caused so much pain to Bob and to our kids and to my parents, and the ripple effect to so many people who knew us and respected us, and so much pain to me. No one knew what it felt like those pregnant days, to feel so rejected by you with the rage, and then to just lay on the pillow and not know what I was ever going to do with this baby. And so the pain was so huge. And yet 2 years later, there was a significant event when I had been on a journey, but that night there was a couple praying for me, and they asked me to get in touch with the pain that was deep inside, and I did that. And when I closed my eyes and remembered those most painful things, the Lord was asking me, he was saying, I love that Audrey, the one that did that. So you are called to love her too. Mm-hmm. And I remember just saying, okay, I'm just going to embrace her as my own and forgive myself for what I did. And in that deep part of the painful place of my heart, I began to feel like there was just this empty, dry vessel inside of me being filled with such worth and identity and value and extravagant love. God just began to fill my heart as I just did, by faith said, you know what, I'm just going to deserve to believe that you love that Audrey and you love me completely. And when I did this, I saw in my mind's eye, in my heart, I saw myself clothed in this beautiful, white, glistening, pure robe of righteousness. And then Jesus asked me the question, will you see yourself the way I see you? And I said, yes. And that robe of righteousness came on me. In other words, I just got completely cleansed from the deepest part of me. And I received myself in wholeness and completion for what I had done. But Jesus put an identity on me that day that has changed my life forever. Because that was the night, I would say, that I completely forgave myself. And I was free.
Yeah, you were. I remember that night so well. I mean, it was a process. I mean, because we're talking 2 years later. Mm-hmm. This didn't happen in the first few months, but this is a process. And to know that, in our woundedness and brokenness, that God really does love us, even when we do things that are so wrong. But I remember that night so clear how free you were. Yeah. And I felt
like I smiled, I felt like I felt safe for the first time in so long. It was such relief.
In some ways, I was so happy for you. And in other ways, I was this isn't fair. And that's what was going on inside of me. Why, God, why does she get to go free when I am so yet bound up with tormenting thoughts, with images, with suppressed anger? Why can't I go free? That was a big question for me.